and then we're going to Shabbat. Okay, so now Shabbos. This Shabbos is Rosh Chodesh Av. Okay, Av, the month of Av. So it's the official name is actually Menachem Av, which means that the Av of which should be comforted, or the Av of comforting. The comforting is because we're in mourning, right? So that it's relevant because whenever the official name is actually Menachem Av. So that's relevant for last Shabbos. Last Shabbos we did Birkat HaChodesh. So in Birkat HaChodesh they said when they announced when they announced the next month. So the official name is Menachem Av, and also for official documents. That for people to get married, Av is a huge time to get married, because the 15th of Av was like a big matchmaking day in Jewish history. So it's like from after Tisha B'Av you're allowed to get married. Like from the 10th of Av you're allowed to get married. So it's relevant for 20 days. And so plenty of people are going to be, it's totally wedding season. Like the month of Av is totally wedding season. So when you get married, so when you write a ksuba, so the official way to write it is Menachem Av. So it says in the Mishnah that Mishenichnas Av mema'atin b'simcha. Okay, as soon as Av comes in, so we need to minimalize our simcha, minimalize the rejoicing and happiness. So what does this entail? What does this entail? So first of all, nobody is going to be getting married. Even we said that there's some Sephardi communities that Ashkenazim already have not been getting married since Shabbat B'Tammuz, right? But even a lot of Sephardim also don't get married. But even the Sephardim that do get married, but from Rosh Chodesh Av, nobody's getting married. Okay, that's number one. Number two. So there's a custom. There's a custom that this is for Ashkenazim and Sephardim alike, with one exception, and that is that from Rosh Chodesh Av, so we don't drink wine or grape juice, and we don't have meat or chicken. Okay, so what is that? So what's actually the difference? The difference is that for Sephardim, the custom only starts after Rosh Chodesh. So if you're Sephardi so this year it's obviously this year it's irrelevant. This year it's irrelevant because Rosh Chodesh is Shabbos, and the Shabbos anyway, these customs do not apply on Shabbos itself. So we're always allowed to have meat and wine. So this year it's irrelevant. The fact that this year there's no difference between Ashkenazim and Sephardim. That for everyone the custom will only begin after Rosh Chodesh. Okay, so from after Shabbos. So from after Shabbos, so there's a prohibition of drinking wine and having grape juice and eating chicken and eating meat. Similarly, it's forbidden to have anything that is meaty or winey. Right? So no, I'm serious. Like that means that any recipes that have wine in it. Now, if theoretically, if you wouldn't taste the wine, so then it would be okay. But most probably if it's there, then you're supposed to taste it. So then that is a problem. Some poskim are lenient on that, because you're not drinking in a winey kind of way, so it's not the same way. But it's the simple understanding of halacha is that you should refrain from having what do people make with wine besides meat? Fish. Okay. So don't put wine in your fish for the 9 days. What? Okay. So who spiked the pasta sauce? So now we discussed last week that for Havdalah itself. So for Havdalah itself, so there's a difference between Ashkenazim and Sephardim. For Ashkenazim, so it's preferable not to drink from the Havdalah wine. And if possible, you should find somebody that doesn't have to keep this custom, namely a certain minor, meaning we said that somebody from 5 to 9, that they're old enough that they need a bracha, but they're young enough that they don't yet need to be mourning for the temple. But for Sephardim, that's okay. For Sephardim, it's permitted freely to drink. For Ashkenazim also, if there's no one else, then you could drink it yourself. Okay, so yeah.
She said that they, like, I don't know if there's another custom or it's just wrong, But like she said that they don't drink wine and eat meat only from the week of Tisha B'Av.
I think it's a mistake. I think it's a mistake. This is it says in Shulchan Aruch that even for Sfardim that, I mean, I understand why it's something which is easy to mix up, because all the other halachas, because this is the only halacha that is true for Sfardim from the 9 days. Actually, that's not really true. There's things I'm about to say. There's things I'm about to say that are also included for Sfardim as well. But the more practical, I don't know, practical. There's other rules that Sfardim are lenient on, and that she mistakenly put them together, but it's really different. Okay, so first of all, so matin b'simcha. So the first halacha matin b'simcha is that from Rosh Chodesh Av, which is from after Shabbos, is that we don't drink meat, we don't drink meat, we don't eat meat, and we don't drink wine. And similarly, anything which is fleishik. So even if if you have a cholent, even if you're not going to have the meat itself, anything that was cooked with meat, if you have chicken soup, even if there's no pieces, even if you're not eating the chicken, but having chicken soup is not permitted, and anything which is bisari. Okay, just the fact that it was cooked in the same oven that doesn't matter. The fact that it was using utensils, like nobody's going to say that if you cut an onion with your fleishik knife, that you can't eat that in the 9 days. That's okay. It has to be meat or something cooked with meat. That's what's going to be the problem. Yeah.
So great. Whatever.
After Tisha B'Av.
Like when the fast is over.
After Tisha B'Av. Yeah. So, good question. It depends if you're Ashkenazi or Sephardi. For Sephardim, yes. Sephardim, yes. Sephardim have difficult withdrawal from the meat, and but for Ashkenazim, the halacha is that all of the halachas of the 9 days continue until midday of the 10th of Av.
It's good. I have feeling
Right? I believe it's only Ashkenazim. I believe Sephardim are okay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's only for Ashkenazim. Yeah.
Right. 9 days, right? The 17th of
We have other things. We have it. Well, people need to get married, okay? No, it's like the opposite. I'm not sure what the question is. That like there's a certain build-up. There's certain There's certain there's certain things that we do for 3 weeks. There's certain things we do for 9 days. There's certain things that we do just for Tisha B'Av, and like it's enough. It's enough. If you follow the rules, you will get exactly the exact perfect amount of sadness that you were supposed to get, and not 1 ounce more. And to say like maybe we should just like no, because why start Shabbos b'Tammuz? Like as soon as Tisha B'Av is over, it's still Tisha B'Av. There's still no Beis Hamikdash, so we should be sitting on the floor the entire year, right? So if we would constantly be in mourning, then we wouldn't be able to live our lives. Okay, so that's why there's a time for being happy and there's a time for being sad. And like they knew exactly what's the best way to do it. That we're going to get the kind of sadness and the kind of connection that is appropriate and not too much, not too little, just right. Yeah. Okay, so that's number 1. The first expression of Mishnechnasav Mata B'Simcha is meat and wine. Number 2 is things which are just particularly happy. Okay, what's an example of something which is particularly happy? Moving into a new apartment is considered particularly happy. Big kinds of purchases, big purchases that make you happy, such as buying a car, such as buying a house, such as buying a piece of furniture, something like a big purchase, a big purchase. Even if it's not the kind of thing that you would have to say Shechianu, but the mere fact that it's a big purchase, so it makes it that you shouldn't do it. Now, there is an exception, there is a leniency, and that is that if there's going to be significant financial loss by not buying this thing, so then it's permitted to do it. If for whatever reason you know that after the 9 days after Tisha B'Av, the prices are going to be changing drastically, so then it is permitted to buy things. So that's why in a lot of stores in Israel they have clothing stores they have big sales during the 9 days, and because they know that nobody's going to buy. So the only way that people are going to buy is only if they have big sales, because if they have big sales, then it's permitted to buy. So that's the halacha is. You don't have to feel bad. Oh my gosh, I feel so bad. I'm losing I'm losing 100 shekel because I can't buy it because it's 9 days. No, you're actually allowed to. You're actually allowed to, because the reason why you're doing it is because you want to save this money, because you don't want to have this loss. So it's actually permitted. Okay, so it's not that's the in terms, that's buying things is also something that is a general thing that makes us happy. Similarly, so painting apartments is something which is considered an act that gives us happiness. Making additions to our house is something which is considered something that gives us happiness. It does say that you're allowed to fix things that for the purpose of that it's dangerous. If the reason why you're fixing something is not because you want it to look better, but because there's something it's not livable because of something wrong with it, then the reason why you're doing it is not to bring your happiness, is really just to avoid the danger. Yes. No, I thought she said new wife. New Wi-Fi. Getting if you need it for work, then it's okay. For business purposes only. No recreation until after the 9 days. Okay, so that's the other thing. And so those are the general things. So no special outings, no special trips, no great adventure. That's an American thing for those who don't know. No, they're like Disneyland, and like doing like adventure parks. They're doing like amusement parks, like things which are lots of fun, which are all about so that this is not the time. That's the simple understanding of what it means with mishenechnas av mematin b'simcha. That to minimize the happiness is to not have these trips which are special, amazing happiness. Okay. So now, then we have 3 more. We have is it 3 more? We have some more halachas, which are the practical halachas, and there is a difference between Ashkenazim and Sephardim. Okay, so it's similar halachas. It's similar halachas, but there's a difference between Ashkenazim and Sephardim when they start. Okay, so these 2 things are bathing and doing laundry. And connected with the prohibition of laundry is wearing laundered clothes. Okay, so it's 2/3 issues. Okay, bathing, doing laundry, and wearing laundered clothes. So these 3 prohibitions, they begin for Ashkenazim from Rosh Chodesh, which this year is going to be after Rosh Chodesh, and for Sephardim, so it begins the week of Tisha B'Av. Now, parenthetically, what exactly is the week of Tisha B'Av? So if Tisha B'Av is a Thursday, so then from Motzei Shabbat until Thursday is the week of Tisha B'Av. Okay, if Tisha B'Av is on a Tuesday, so then from Motzei Shabbat until Monday night is the week of Tisha B'Av. But this year, so Tisha B'Av is Motzei Shabbat, right? So if you only start from Motzei Shabbat until Tisha B'Av, then there's no time. Okay, so what is the halacha in such a situation? So the simple halacha is that according to Sephardim, it's okay. That these prohibitions do not apply. That simply they don't apply. There's a more stringent opinion that says that in this situation, the Sephardim would go from the week before that to have an entire week. But that's not the accepted opinion among most Sephardim. So most Sephardim did in the situation like this. So then they're going to just going to not have a 9 days, which is not going to be maybe that'll be a good wake-up call to reassess if you really want to be Sephardic. So yeah.
Said that no laundry clothes is starting only from the week of Tisha B'Av.
Correct.
I would hear from the Rosh Chodesh.
No, that's Ashkenazim. So now I want to go through each one, explain what it means, what it doesn't mean. Okay, so first of all, the prohibition of bathing. The prohibition of bathing is a prohibition of bathing for pleasure. Okay, so the anything which is for pleasure, just going swimming for pleasure is forbidden. Going to the beach for pleasure is forbidden. If you're going, to have swimming lessons for a kid is permitted because it's not for pleasure. Yeah. What? For what?
Oh.
To work out. Yeah, it's not. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. I think it depends on the person. I think it depends on the person. Probably if you do it, you're doing. Probably there is some enjoyment of it. Most people that work out are enjoying it. Like if you're training for a competition, then I imagine that it's not pleasureful. But if you're just doing it because you like working out, I would call that pleasure. But I don't know. I'm not.
Doing what, like the training that you should do in line, and into something that is less pleasure for you.
No, you're allowed to work out. I didn't say you're not allowed to work out. I'm talking about swimming for working out. The question was to swim for workout. Yeah, I would say that for this week. So go running instead. So anything which is medical, anything which is like for the purpose of learning, for the person, that's okay. If it's for the purpose of pleasure, it's not okay. So now there's an interesting thing that if you look in the original sources when it comes to bathing, they were extremely strict. It says that they weren't bathing even in cold water, and even there was a certain leniency that before Shabbos of the 9 days, so you're allowed to wash parts of your body with cold water. Okay, now these halachas have changed over the generations because hygiene has changed, meaning that the guiding light of this halachas is that what's for pleasure is forbidden and what's not for pleasure is permitted. So it says even in the Gemara, it says that even on Tisha B'Av, so if you're bathing yourself, if you're washing something because something is dirty, so you're allowed to take it off. So even from the very sources, so it's very clear that to take off dirt is not the problem. The problem is to do something for pleasure. So because there's a difference in the hygiene, so it used to be that they didn't have running water. So if they didn't have running water, so taking a shower was a treat. Taking a bath was a treat. It was like they would like Jews were unique that we bathed before Shabbos. In most cultures, there was no such thing as once a week, every 7 days you go, you bathe. That's unheard of. Like it's a whole process to get the water and to put it into the barrel. I don't know, but it's like Jews were always like ahead of the game when it comes to hygiene. But so like every day you take a shower, like it would be like like if we would tell somebody from 500 years ago like our habits, they would think we're crazy, right? So because our hygiene has changed, so if we don't take a shower in more than a day or day and a half, so we start feeling icky, right? So the reason why we take a shower is not because we want the pleasure of it. It's because the oils on our body make us feel gross. So that's called for the purpose of cleanliness. That's not called for the purpose of pleasure. So the only thing that remains from this prohibition is that to use hot water is for pleasure. So the halacha is during the 9 days. So it is forbidden to shower with hot water, and it's necessary to shower with lukewarm water. Okay, what does it mean? What's the difference between lukewarm water and warm water? That as much as you're enjoying the heat, okay, I mean it doesn't have to be the coldest. You don't have to freeze yourself. It can't be warm enough that you enjoy the heat. Okay, that's the guideline.
What if that's like what you enjoy the most though? Do you know what I mean?
Then you're okay. Then you want to tell you that you should use hot water because you should suffer. You don't need to suffer. It's a
Okay.
what do you mean? Should you do cold water?
So like
should first cold water?
if your favorite way of taking a shower is like in the middle, like not cold, not hot.
If you enjoy, I would say that I don't know. As much as it's warm, as much as you're making it warmer because you don't want to freeze, that's okay. When you make it a little bit warmer because it's more pleasant, that's what's prohibited.
Got it.
Okay, so that's why for us, so it's permitted to use shampoo freely. Like I know, even as a guy, like if you don't use shampoo, then your hair is still oily. So like I'm sure it's even worse for you. So so you're allowed to use shampoo because the purpose is to get the oils out of your hair. It's not for the purpose of pleasure. Okay, so that's really the only thing. The prohibition is, I mean, it's not the only thing. It's a big thing that for these 9 days. So it's prohibited to use hot water when you take a shower. The exception is for Friday. Okay, that before Shabbos. So the Chazal said that using hot water does a better job to clean. So it is permitted to it's a mitzvah to specifically use hot water every Friday, and because it's a mitzvah to use hot water every Friday, so it's also a mitzvah erev Shabbos chazon. It's called that. This is a term that I haven't used yet. The Shabbos before Tisha B'Av is called Shabbos chazon, Shabbat chazon, and the reason why it's called Shabbos chazon is because it's the first word in the Haftarah. The first word of the Haftarah is Chazon Yeshayahu ben Amatz. It's from the first chapter of Yeshayahu, and it's talking about the Hashem's prophecy to how he's going to destroy Jerusalem because of our sins. Okay, he's lamenting on our spiritual and moral downfall and telling Yeshayahu how he's going to punish us and destroy the temple and destroy Jerusalem. So interesting to connect this with our previous class is that in the very last pasuk of this haftarah, so the Navi, so earlier in the haftarah he laments that part of the downfall of the Jewish people wasn't just in our idolatry, it was also in our morality, in our justice, that not having compassion, not having empathy, and not having justice, that all of the like, just like Rabbi Nachman was talking about, that like the judges were corrupt and there was a lot of lack of justice. And so it's very noteworthy that in the very last pasuk of this haftarah, so Hashem says, "V'yashiva shoftayech kivarishena," and I will return your judges to the way that it was before. This is, by the way, it's from this pasuk that the blessing in Shemona Esrei, Hashiva Shavtein Kvarishena. So those words that are taken from this pasuk in the Navi. So the Navi says that I will return your judges to the way they were, meaning I will return justice, and at that point Jerusalem will return to being called Ir HaTzedek. It will be called the city of justice, Kiryah Ne'emana, the center of loyalty. And so we see that like a main issue that the Navi sees as being relevant to the redemption is the judicial system. And I think it's so first of all, it means like just in general that our sense of justice, our sense of morality needs to be on par. And I think that in modern times, I think that it's a big slap in the face because I'm sure you're familiar that in Israel, the most left-wing part of the country is in the judicial system. That the Bagatz is the most liberal, and they're always the ones making the most problems against religion. It's always coming from the Bagatz. Like they're the ones that like they didn't allow somebody to have a concert because they wanted to have a mechitza in the middle. I'm serious. I'm like they like
You know, or
also
Yeah. they went around it.
Not
and they
even-
did flags
Uh-huh.
to separate it, and then they came and just like barged in on the whole.
It's very sick. But I'm thinking the problem is that they're coming from the top. It's coming from the judicial system. Like the Bagatz is the ones where the corruption, the biggest corruption is in the judicial in the head of the judges. And like, so anyway, that's Shabbos Chazon. So Shabbos Chazon. So there's leniencies. And the leniency, first of all, Shabbos itself. So certainly you're allowed to do everything. Shabbos itself, you eat meat, you drink wine, you have a good time. I forgot something. I forgot you're also not allowed during the 9 days. You're also not allowed to wear Shabbos clothes. Not allowed to wear Shabbos clothes. Besides the thing that we didn't talk about yet about wearing laundered clothing, that there's a stam problem of wearing fancy clothes. Okay, so because like wearing fancy clothes is an act of happiness. Like it makes you when you're wearing like the things you feel like you're at your best. You feel like I'm looking so perfect. So like it's a simcha thing. So that's part of the prohibition of mamatim b'simcha. Yeah. Maybe you want to wear it for something else.
Maybe I want to wear them like a week.
Yeah. You have a corporate interview. You have a big date. I don't know. I don't get it. Why?
Because I thought like we have specific clothes that are so beautiful and special that we only wear them on Shabbos. So if we are allowed to break all the mourning customs on Shabbos because it's Shabbos.
Right. Yeah, I said, on Shabbos, you're allowed to wear Shabbos clothes, but you would never wear a Shabbos dress to meet somebody that's, I don't know if you had a, okay. You wear it to weddings. No, you don't wear it to weddings. You don't wear it to weddings. You don't wear Shabbos clothes to weddings.
To weddings, yeah.
Okay.
Weddings. No, I have some dresses that are just for Shabbos. I don't wear them anymore.
Yeah, everybody has Shabbos clothes, but you wear your Shabbos clothes for important events. Yeah. Do not wear Shabbos clothes for. No, I didn't say bad clothes. I just said don't wear your Shabbos clothes. Regular. Sneers. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so now back to this is the first prohibition. The first prohibition is the prohibition of bathing. So the bathing is any bathing which is for pleasure is forbidden, and any bathing which is for hygiene is permitted. Okay, with the exception of Shabbos, that for Shabbos, that even if you don't need it for hygiene, so there's a special mitzvah to wash with hot water, but the mitzvah for Shabbos with hot water, so it's not your whole body. It's not your whole body. It says panav, yadav, v'raglav, that your face, your arms, and your legs. That's what it says you're allowed to wash with hot water. Now, the interesting history behind this. What's special about panav, yadav, v'raglav? So that this is the part of your body which is exposed, meaning that like we're more stringent because on Shabbos, so that we want you to look good. So they're more lenient regarding the part of your body that people are seeing. So now, if that's the case, then like the parts of because that's the rationale, so it only makes sense on the part of your body that's being removed, right? So like according to that, like I would only be able to wash until here with hot water, and for men not at all, right? Like men not they wouldn't be able to do the legs at all. So, but we don't like even though it doesn't really make sense, but because they said that panav yadav v'raglav is okay, so you don't need to be more religious than what it says. Okay, so because it says, I'm just giving you like just the history of how this came to be. So it says that your head, so your head, your arms until here, and your legs until your torso should be fine. Yeah.
Makeup is prohibited.
On Shabbos or not on Shabbos?
No, in this time.
It's not prohibited. it's not prohibited on Tisha B'Av itself. On Tisha B'Av itself, it's prohibited, but during the 9 days, there's no prohibition. Okay, that's what pizza. Okay, next is kibbutz. Kibbutz means laundry. Why is it prohibited to do laundry? So it's not clear. This is doing laundry is not that these halachas are borrowed from the halachas of a person who is in mourning for a parent or a loved one or like an immediate family member. So there's the same halachas. So what's the source of the what's the source of this prohibition of doing laundry? So one source it says is that it's such a busy thing. It's as if it's considered that you're forgetting about the avelos. It's such a, I don't really understand that so much. The other explanation which is given, I also don't really understand so much, that it's something which makes happiness. Now, I can't say I really connect with either of these explanations too much, but I could say that there is it does create a certain feeling, like the fact that the fact that I'm not doing laundry, the fact when you're doing laundry, then like constantly refurbishing your drawers with clean clothes. So like there's certain, like seeing the hamper, the laundry basket full of dirty clothes, it's like it makes you feel like it puts you in a certain state of mind that I'm not tending to myself. I'm not tending to the only thing is like I'm just down, and like the only thing on my mind is that what I'm lacking, what I'm missing, what we don't have. And so it does help shape the way we view it. Puts you into a certain state of feeling that I'm lacking something. So regardless what the rationale is, so it's a clear kat halacha. Now what are the leniencies for this? So first of all, it says that you're freely allowed to do laundry for children's clothing. Similarly, it's in hospitals that they need it for hospitals. It's completely fine. So the rationale behind children's clothing is that because children are constantly getting dirty. So as opposed to adults, that we're expected to not be constantly getting dirty. So for that reason, so many poskim say that undergarments for adults nowadays is the same halachas as children's clothing for in those days. Okay, so this is only if you're stuck. This is only if you're stuck, meaning that everybody tonight when you get home, you should do all your laundry. Make sure that every clothing that you have, every article of clothing is going to be clean before the 9 days, and then if you're stuck and you run out of clothing, so then if you're stuck, then you're allowed to be lenient with undergarments. With undergarments, you're allowed to be lenient to do them, to launder them, because they fall into the same leniency as children's clothing. Okay. Now, for the second thing that comes out of that is that just like it's prohibited to do laundry, it's prohibited to wear freshly laundered clothing. Okay. So now, so with this, so for this reason, so these three halachas, bathing and doing laundry and wearing laundered clothing. So this year, this is only, like we said, this is only for Ashkenazim. For Sephardim, this is not going to be the case. You're allowed to do these three things until Tisha B'Av, until Shabbos, till whatever. And so, but for Ashkenazim this year, and for Sephardim in regular years, from the week of Tisha B'Av. So what is this? So what do we do? So we pre-wear our clothing. Okay, what does it mean to pre-wear our clothing? It means that you're not allowed to wear freshly laundered clothing, but you're allowed to. It doesn't mean it has to be worn for 48 hours before, right? So what's the guideline? So it needs to be that it's somewhat worn. Okay, so how much is somewhat? I was told 20 minutes. I read some people say an hour. I think you can do 20 minutes. You can be my students, and so every 20 minutes you're gonna switch your article of clothing. Now there's an issue. What if you forget? What if this happens to a lot of people every single year, that they remember on Shabbos that they remember on Rosh Chodesh that oh my gosh, I forgot to prepare my clothing. Now what am I going to do? So there is one thing that you can do, and that is that and that is the on Shabbos. So there's no prohibition of wearing laundered clothing. So you can wear something on Shabbos and then put it aside, and then it's pre-washed. Okay. Whoa. Okay. No, it says the battery is low, which means that I don't know let's see how much battery we still have. It's only 13 minutes, so they might survive. Can't tell. 6%. I don't know. Anybody know how to plug this in? No, I'm sure there's a cable here. I would have assumed it's plugged in from the beginning. What? I would have thought that it was plugged in the whole time. Ah, that's it.
That was
Yes, that was it. Kala kavat. I think. Yeah, I think so. I think you fixed it.
Use one and.
Right. So now on Shabbos, you're allowed to wear. So first of all, from tonight until Shabbos for Ashkenazim. So now is the perfect time to pre-wear your clothing. And so you put on something for 20 minutes and then you switch. Okay. Now what you can't do is I remember when I was a kid. So I would remember like I was once in summer camp, and so kids would have this thing that they would put on 5 shirts at a time. And there's look at pre-worn. Okay, that's just silly. That doesn't do the trick, because it's only called pre-worn because it was on your body. So like it got some of your sweat on it. Like the fact that if you wore layers, then it's still fresh. That's silly.
Shirt for like 20 minutes, that you put it aside, you put another one.
Precisely.
and like it.
Exactly. Okay. So now on Shabbos itself, so you could also do this. The problem is that if it's not Shabbos clothing, so then if it's not Shabbos clothing, then like how you gonna? So you're not you can't use it to walk outside. But like if you're around your own apartment, so you could. But the thing is that on Shabbos you have a different problem, because on Shabbos you're not allowed to prepare for after Shabbos. So if you're doing something that the entire purpose of what you're doing is for after Shabbos, which it is, so then it's a problem. So you have to do it in a way that it's normal, meaning that you can wear something at night. And like, let's say it's Shabbosy enough that like a borderline dress that you could like, and so you could wear it at night, and then the next day wear something else, and then go to sleep in the afternoon and then wear something else. But you can't do this thing about switching every 20 minutes, because switching, taking something off and then putting something on is clearly, you're just doing that. You're not doing that because there's anything wrong. You're just doing that to prepare for after Shabbos. So that's a problem. Okay, clear? Yeah, it's easier for guys, because for guys it's just all, at least for white shirt guys. So it's all transient, you can. So bottom line, the best thing is, the most ideal thing is that before Shabbos, that you should be pre-wearing all of your stuff. Now what about undergarments? So undergarments, we're more lenient for the same reason. Well, somewhat for the same reason, somewhat for other reasons. For undergarments, so we're more lenient, that there's no prohibition of wearing there's no prohibition of wearing laundered clothing. Okay, so some people, no, by the way, some people in general say that if you forget to pre-wear it, so you have another idea, and that is to put it on the ground. And some people say put it on the ground and stomp on it. Okay, so some people say that's okay, others don't. That's like, if you're stuck, so you can rely on those opinions. I don't think it's the same. I don't know. I think that something that was on the floor is not the same thing as something which is pre-worn. I think there's a certain feeling. There's a certain feeling of the fabric that when you put on something which is freshly laundered, that feeling is what they were prohibiting. It sounded like you just wrinkled it when you put it on the floor. It doesn't really, you didn't unlaunder it. So I'm not really sure why but there are rabbis that say that. So like if you're really stuck, so there are rabbis that say you can be lenient like that. So some people say that for undergarments that you should be machmir and to put it on the floor a little bit and stamp on it, but like I don't even do that. I don't like. I think that the prohibition of wearing laundered clothing is more for the outer garments because because then it's a question of feeling like like you don't feel anything special about the way you wear your undergarments in the first place. So there's no I don't think that the prohibition was ever meant on the undergarments. Okay, so those are the those are the three things regarding what you call it, regarding the 9 days / the week before Tisha B'Av, and then the last thing in the preparations for Tisha B'Av is something called the Seudah Mafseket. Okay, the Seudah Mafseket is the last thing. Now this year there is no Seudah Mafseket. Okay, but first of all let's talk about this year. Okay, what do I mean? What do I mean that there's no Seudah Mafseket? So the Seudah Mafseket is the last meal, the last meal before the fast starts. Seudah Mafseket, Mafseket. Mafseket. Mafseket means the one that interrupts. It stops your eating. This is the meal that stops our eating. So we have Seudah Mafseket before Yom Kippur, and we have Seudah Mafseket before Tisha B'Av. So the Seudah Mafseket before Tisha B'Av, usually it has special rules that we're going to get to in a moment, but this year it's different. Why is it different this year? Because this year it's on Shabbos, and so on Shabbos we said that it's forbidden to have any inhibitions of what you're allowed to eat. So by definition, if it's Shabbos, you're allowed to have meat, you're allowed to drink wine. So there's no limits to what you're allowed to eat or not eat during Seudah Mafseket. But of course, there is the thing that you need to stop eating before sunset. Okay, so whatever the sunset is, so it's something like 40, 45, I don't know, something like that. So you want to make sure that before 7:45, so you are finished eating, finished drinking. You're allowed to bench. You're allowed to bench after Shkia. You're allowed to bench after it's what you call it. But you can't eat, you can't drink, you can't rinse out your mouth. That from sunset, even though it's still Shabbos, even though you're allowed to wear your Shabbos clothes. So that would be disgraceful to Shabbos. Take off your Shabbos clothes at that moment because we still keep Shabbos until Tzeit Kochavim, until 3 stars come out. So you still in your Shabbos clothes. Here on Erev Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av will begin 7:39:00. Okay, 7:39. So from 7:37, you should. I should say 2 minutes because just like, but if your watch is off, So from 7:37, so you should not be drinking. You should not be eating. You should not be rinsing your mouth. Okay.
It's like no brushing your teeth.
Right. If you brush your teeth on Shabbos in the first place, which is a matter of discussion, but yeah, it's about correct. So now there are those that say that if you're in your own home, Shlomo Zalman Auerbach said that if you're in your own home, then at sunset you should already take off your leather shoes. Why? Because taking off leather shoes is not an obvious sign of mourning, because people in their own house, it's normal to walk around, or it's normal to walk around in your own house without shoes. So because it's not an obvious sign of mourning, so then there's no reason not to do it even on Shabbat. I mean, it's like the same thing as just like you're permitted to fast. I mean, you're obligated to fast, and it's not considered disgracing Shabbos by fasting, because you don't have to eat every single moment of Shabbos. So similarly, it's not considered disgracing Shabbos to take off your leather shoes. So if you're wearing leather shoes and you're in your own house, so then you're going to stop that. Okay. So now Havdalah on the night on Motzei Shabbos is on Tisha B'Av. So we don't make Havdalah that night because it involves drinking the grape juice. It involves that's why. The reason why is because you can't have the grape juice. So Havdalah is going to be Sunday night, and yet we do one thing, and that is we do the bracha of Borei Mi'arei Ha'ish. Okay, so you need the just the bracha on the fire. That's the only thing that we're going to do Saturday night, and then after Shabbos is over, after 3 stars comes out, then you're obligated to take off your Shabbos clothes, because then once it's no longer Shabbos, then you're obligated to take off your Shabbos clothes, because it reverts to the halachas that it's forbidden, and then you're going to take off that if you have to make sure that you go home and take off your leather shoes if you were wearing them, and then you'll go to shows, and they'll give you time to go home and change your clothing and get back, and then you'll come back Saturday night to come to show for the services, which is called Eicha. Okay, because on the Saturday night, that's when we're going to be reading the book of Eicha, the book of Lamentations, and then after the book of Eicha, then we say 2 or 3 of the Kinot, which is later Lamentations that were written, and that's going to be the service Saturday night. So you should all be going. You should all, and but it's going to start later, because they understand that everybody needs to go home to change the clothing before.
This year, even the makeup before Shabbat, I cannot take off.
No, you mean after Shabbos? You're allowed to. What are you asking?
Because we cannot have all.
You're allowed to wear You're allowed to wear makeup for Shabbos. You put it on before Shabbos. It says you're allowed to take off the makeup on Tisha B'Av. I don't believe you're obligated to. I don't believe you're obligated to take off the makeup. I think
Explain against the like when you need to change clothes.
After Shabbos, you're obligated to change clothes. I'm pretty sure. I don't remember precisely. What I remember is that you're not obligated to take off. You're allowed to take it off. It might be more appropriate to take it off, but I don't think it's an obligation. I don't think you're prohibited to have your Shabbos makeup still on during Tisha B'Av. Okay. Okay. So that is everything you need to know about from this Shabbos until right before Tisha B'Av. Yes. Haircuts. So Ashkenazim already have not been getting haircuts. For haircuts for Sephardim, so it's it would this year would be permitted theoretically. Would be permitted theoretically. I think if you only get a haircut every 2 months, I wouldn't say that you should pick the 9 days to do it, because that might be a very happy thing. But by the halacha, there's no prohibition of haircuts for Sephardim this year at all. All right, the end.
For fasting, we cannot take shami. So the 2 things.
Sorry?
This year, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.